You're live. Okay, we hope we're live. We think we're live. This is kind of an odd time of day for me to try and do a video. It's warm in the room and the lighting is kind of and all that. And there might be traffic, audible traffic noises for a change. But I was watching a couple videos. Most of the time, the content I watch that is made by women is more, what do you call it? I don't know, self-help, I guess, kind of thing. But I do watch other decor things, and I make my decor videos that nobody watches, and so sometimes I piggyback on them on purpose because I think a lot of men, especially, if you share a space, if you're married or otherwise, it's not, the total traditional thing where I'm at work all day and she does the house all day, but it's still kind of more or less deferential that she gets to kind of do the house the way she wants to do it. And I don't know that there's automatically anything wrong with that, but, boundaries or whatever, agreements, disagreements, I don't know, man cave, like I did these videos 2 years ago already or whatever, and hardly anybody's watched them, so I won't be too redundant, but I feel like I need to preamble this one just because nobody's watched those ones, and with a kind of, not a total clickbaity title, but maybe a smidge, because this isn't, even though my demographic is pretty much men over 30, whatever, women might watch this video more than they're going to watch my boot content. Oh, and I know I said this morning that I wasn't going to do a video. I meant like a boot video or a clothing video. I'm still doing a video, but again, not the kind of video that most of you tune in. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I think if a woman tuned into this, I would want her takeaway to be like, okay, what do men think about different than maybe what women think about in terms of decor? And so there was 2 videos in specific that I am reacting to, but the second one will be a much shorter reaction. And the first one, it's going to go a bit long because there's no reason. I mean, if I had a different title, maybe there would be a reason to break it up into chunks and do a smaller separate video, but I might as well just throw it all out there. And then one thing I don't do ever since I went to the live format instead of the original videos where I was putting in the still frames and things, like I don't know how to put photos up in here. So if I wanted to do screenshots of their video and show them in here, I don't know. But a lot of what they use, some of them are like a Pinterest or Instagram photos or something, but a lot of them look like they're more from catalogs and things, where those living spaces don't reflect the kind of living spaces that you're likely to have anyway if you're watching a video like this where you're trying to figure out how to decorate. I mean, unless you're really clueless and you have a mansion, chances are this is not the video you're watching. You're just hiring somebody to come in and make it look nice anyway, so typically when we're making these kind of videos, it's because we know you're dealing with a screwy situation where you have that broom closet or that air vent or whatever the heck it is that breaks up the flow, or if you're like this office where because of the placement of the window, I literally had to move the desk from there where I actually really liked it and had more room for other furniture over here, and I had to pivot this because otherwise I couldn't see what I was doing with the sun in my eyes and the glare on the screen and the things and the so I had to less optimize my space than the way I had it, but it works okay. It works 80% of the time, because I've only had to move a couple of pieces of furniture, but I have more junk on the floor than I would like and blah, blah, blah. Anywho, so in the first video, what she had done was she took questions from 3 regular viewers who sent pictures of their space and commented on those, and those are girl spaces. So I am going to still, like I said, not cut that out. I'm going to leave that in, but then interspersed with that, she did 2 segments, not just 1, 2, of her doing a rapid fire of men's spaces where they had posted on Instagram or someplace that they wanted help with their space. So, okay, so these were people who, allegedly, we don't know if that was really a guy who posted that or if his girlfriend took a picture and put that up there. They didn't mention that part. That's kind of my spin as well. Did this guy really ask for advice? Because it looks like it's more or less, a cohesive bachelor pad with nothing really wrong with it, but it's maybe bland in a couple of cases. And then in a couple other cases, I think it was literally like the guy thinks it looks poppin', and somebody else saw it and said, no, wrong. And this gal agreed with them. And so her parameters was she was going to do 3-word assessments of all of them. And we'll get to that soon enough. So this is going to be one of those awkward videos where I'm basically reading rather than talking off the top of my head. So hopefully you get the gist, and hopefully I can remember more or less what I was addressing. Okay, so this first one, but I remember, okay, the first one was it sounded like a married couple in London. And so again, American interiors and English interiors, also slightly different. Not going to go into all of that. But this one, they had a really small bedroom, smaller than my bedroom kind of thing. Like, I mean, or smaller than a dorm room, maybe even. I wish I had like I said, I wish I had the photos that I could throw up there. But basically, they had a bare wall, and on the bed, they had a bed, probably not a queen bed, maybe a full bed. Again, I don't know if English will be different than American in size terms because they do everything metric. So twin and full and queen might be different dimensions. I don't know. But we'll assume it was a full bed and not a queen bed. I don't think the queen bed would fully fit in there. But it was in the middle of the floor with space on both sides and then nothing on the wall. And then there was like a window or a radiator or something. I don't remember. And then there was a closet on the far side or whatever it was. So she said, "Oh, I love a tiny space. You can, totally do so much with a tiny space because it saves you money on wallpaper and, furniture and stuff." It's like, yeah, but you also don't have room for furniture and stuff. And so I didn't share, so much enthusiasm for that tiny space. I thought the map was nice, though. I thought, hang it up and you're about half done because, yeah, big map. Again, it's maybe the size of this window or so. And that was half of your wall or more covered, fine. Don't obsess about it. Worry about it when you move and it's not a rental, and you can actually paint or whatever you want to do. So she talks about being anti-open concept, and I had posted or commented on this as well previously. Yes, I'm the one guy who's totally anti-open concept overall. But sometimes small is too small. Like I said, this was barely a dorm room, and I don't know how much they were paying for it. Often it's not just the size, but the necessary placement of some items, like how the phone cord is only on the one wall, so the computer must go there alone, etc. Just what I was talking about right now. So, you can give advice for redoing the room, but usually it would just be like the mirror image of all the furniture in the same place on the opposite wall in the same order kind of thing. Like, because the room is that small. It's like, yeah, my own bedroom, like the TV hookup is there. There's nothing I can do about that. The TV has to go on that side, therefore the bed must go on the other side, and then you put the other stuff where it'll fit. And then, yes, I did on her post, had my office set up the way I wanted, as close as nice as possible, but then had to move everything to worst spot because of the sunlight through the window and other issues. A more minimal approach still wouldn't fix that, except I could eliminate some of the furniture, but then I would have nowhere to put the stuff that goes on the furniture. Stuff like that, curtains. Oh, okay. She wanted to put curtains separating the bed space from the overall floor space, and then maybe a curtain over the closet door instead of they had no closet door. So instead of a closet door, a curtain. Stuff like that looks great at first and then gets so annoying. I know because I tried things like that and hanging beads over my old closet when it wasn't actually sliding doors, but that's a long story. The sliding doors broke and I just gave up. Because it's like I have to move this crap every time I want to look for a shirt. No thanks. See, girls, not all, I guess we're generalizing again, but the girls who make these videos, again, want flowery things or statement pieces or things. I don't know. I'm not a minimalist in that regard, but I don't have their exact same sensibility, right? Unless you're in the tropics and need mosquito netting, of course. You don't want all that malaria disturbing my sleep. How am I supposed to get my remote and the glass of water if the nightstand is on the wrong side of the curtain? I'm not feeling these suggestions much. Cute and function can be two separate principles here. Because again, yes, the word she used was cute, which is not a design word men are going to use typically unless it's sarcastically. Oh yeah, that's cute, right? I mean, that's kind of the way we're going to approach this. When hanging a curtain over the closet, fine if it's gray, but I don't want it to be pink because pink is cute. So, a discussion you might have to have as you negotiate these things. Again, I'm not negotiating these things for you, and I'm trying not to make too many value judgments. I'm just, I would have already hung the map on the wall to the right. You see the map and the window when you look in the room, because that's your vantage point. That's what the gal who's really big into design should understand, that you're seeing the room as a focal point from outside the room. Whereas when you're in the room, you're mostly going to sleep. You're not like admiring your decor as much. It can go either way depending on the room, blah, blah, blah. But a bedroom, like you want, when you have guests and things, you want them to see a nice thing, a vignette or whatever. You're not necessarily taking them into your bedroom. So yeah, I would have already hung the map on the wall to the right. So you see the map and the window. When you look in the room, done. And then she said sconces. I said, and no, for me, no sconces. And hint, the couple agreed on the map idea already before you came along and said, oh, throw that away and do totally different decor. Because she had said, oh, put up 3 little bits of artwork there, and didn't even say where to put the map, but curtains on the closet. So maybe the map next to the closet, or maybe throw the map away entirely because it's just too big for her sensibilities, even though she likes wallpaper, which is the same thing as a big map, but a more repeating design. Maybe, I don't know. I like posters of maps. I got a whole bunch of them on the wall right here. Because again, this isn't a typical bedroom. This is more of a creative space or whatever you want to call it. Okay, so here's where we switched to the game. And again, this is going to be difficult because I don't have all the pictures in front of me from the actual video. I'm supposed to supply my own words or just react to hers. Well, reaction is quicker, but I didn't always wait for her to say her 3 words because she said her game was to guess what words she was going to come up with and see if you guessed the same words. I can assure you I pretty much only guessed the same words once or twice. Except for when she got lazy at the end of the things. We'll get to that. Okay, 1. Oh, she just said like add more any color. Add any color was her words. I should have wrote down what all the words were, but I don't remember. I didn't copy down her words for all of these either, but you'll get the gist. Funny, but I could do a bit more with white furniture if I wanted a beachy cottage look, etc. So yeah, they had white furniture and some gray walls or something. And so she thought it was not colorful enough for a bachelor pet. Oh no, I remember which one this one. This was some goth dude where he had black blankets, black guitars, and white cabinets or something. Okay. Yeah. Again, one of the rooms that totally looked like the guy thought he nailed it for minimalism, just austere, black and white, no clutter at all. And I'm positive some girl came in who thought she might want to date him or something and took a photo to make fun of him. Because I'm positive that guy did not ask for any advice when his room was completely clean, antiseptic, and two-tone. Two, I don't remember the space, but could use a big map on the wall back there. Oh, I'm waiting for her words still. What were her words? I don't know. Oh, she said circular mirror or something here or something. And I said, nope, circular mirror is pain in my arse there. Other things I might change first. So again, that room probably had some random issues, but then a big dead area. Same as the first room, but larger in the London gal. 3, looks like another teenager's room, same as number 1. A rug? No. So she wanted to add any rug was her solution there. No, I would move the TV first to the opposite wall and then push the bed closer to the window wall. Oh, she wanted to move the bed in the first room too, to where it was against the wall, not jutting out into the wall. But if you have 2 people cohabitating, the one can't be trapped against the far wall. How are they going to climb over their partner to go to bathroom in the night and think? No. Or if they have to get up earlier for work, but they like sleeping inside, like, it's just not going to work. I would move TV to opposite wall and then push bed closer to window wall. Looks like closet is to the right, though. So the room is a horrible layout, like I was saying earlier, which you get stuck with a horrible layout. You can't try and move the furniture all you want. You're only going to be able to move the one nightstand because that's the only small piece that can go in this corner or that corner. So the rug is the least of my problems here. Yeah, exactly. Just adding that pop of rug under the bed is not going to solve a crappy room. It's just going to cost you $50. Okay, or more. 4, she thinks not much wrong with this room. They are probably renters who can't paint the walls. I was fine with the original nightstand because it matches the bed. Oh, so this was the one where she said bigger nightstands. Get bigger nightstands. And that was her only comment. Maybe replace small art with something more on theme. It had a Southwesty theme, and then there was 3 little pictures, like she recommends to the other people, and I couldn't tell what they were, I think. Or maybe it was one picture and it was green, though. She added a bedspread that was green to match the green picture that was on the wall. That's right. So she definitely picks the wrong color bedspread that is off theme, but matches small art instead of the Southwest palette. So there, I thought her advice was lazy and bad. Okay. Because, yeah, if you're going to pick a Southwest art motif for over your bed, then on your bed should be a Southwesty kind of motif. In fact, this color would be better than green because Southwesty. I don't have any of my decor, but if you go through my community posts, I did a couple photos of the stuff that I got from Pendleton, which I need to do a follow-up of that soon, but haven't done yet. It's been too warm to put blankets and stuff on my bed, so it doesn't matter. Number 5. Okay, this one looked like a basement, and it had guitars hanging up high and some other things going on up high, shelves. And then there was some low furniture, but it wasn't couches or beds or anything. It was just, what do you call them, settees or not quite beanbags, like almost a oversized footrest or a bar stool with no legs kind of thing. So it looks up more like rumpus room than bedroom. So the appropriate accessory here would be a Janis Joplin blacklight poster. My guess is the stuff is high because they have kids or pets, and she obviously doesn't own guitars, so she doesn't understand that you have to protect guitars from children and dogs or something. Yeah, I don't know what actual decor that space needed. Unless those kids are finally grown and the dogs are gone, then you could redo the entire room. But again, I don't know that that was a legitimate cry for help room or not, in which case it's going to cost a lot of money to buy all new furniture and stuff if you're going to turn it into a real room instead of a guitar room, blah, blah, blah. 6. This one was, I guess, this is where people buy TVs instead of art now, but it's a living room instead of a bedroom. But there's not too much clutter, just that one framed thing kind of jammed in the corner instead of just the TV. So I think this was a long, skinny room, and the TV was in the middle, and then there was like a bookshelf off to the side. There was 2 that were kind of the same, so I might be saying stuff from the wrong photo. But so I don't remember what she said, but my response to her was lazy answer that costs more money. If they don't have books and oh, she wanted them to get a bigger cabinet because the TV was on a console that was, or the TV was on the wall and the console was low and there was like a dead space in here. So she wanted them to get a taller cabinet to fill some of that dead space. Okay. If they don't have books and such for storage, then why not just put plants on the shorter cabinet and be done? So, like I said, I thought she was kind of met advice. There's another one coming up, though, that's, like I said, kind of a similar room. So I don't want to spoil by saying the stuff that goes with the next photo. Number 7, maximalist space that's right up her alley. Oh, this one was a bit much. This one had a lot of colors and a lot of furniture and a lot of stuff, picture frames, and you name it, it was in there. Clutter, yeah. So I actually thought she would like this, but I was surprised that she was not as pro-maximalist as I kind of attack her for in a second here. So in all fairness, I was a little bit, but I thought she would be on board with this room more than she was. So there was that. Cluttered enough, but could still use a mermaid and a unicorn and a vending machine and a jukebox. I mean, because I thought she was going to tell them, what to, but then she goes in the opposite direction. Like I said, I'm shocked. No. So what happened was they had a lot of furniture that had tall legs. Like there was these little stereo speakers, about the same size as they're slightly bigger than a typical computer speakers, but they had their own CD tower kind of pedestals that they were on. But instead of being a CD tower where you could have storage, they were just posts. And then they had chairs that were on kind of tall posts and a lamp that was a reading lamp kind of thing on a tall post, and all different colors though too. So I said, those legs, they were actually another choice that cost money. So that was what they picked on purpose. Whether they should have or not, I don't know. But they did ask for advice, allegedly. So they got hers instead of mine, right? Well, they didn't actually get hers because she made a video about it, not commenting on YouTube or Instagram about it, for all I know. I understand the audiophile issue because they did have an actual stereo and entertainment area kind of thing. But at least now they're small speakers instead of the giant 80s cabinets and such that we used to have to. I mean, you couldn't put that much on them, because you don't want to damage the wood, but they took up a whole corner. I got 2 small lamps that I still have that were on my speakers for a while there. So I did have a little bit of almost recessed lighting. That was kind of nice for a while, but they were kind of a pain in the ass to get to the switch of the one because it was back behind the thing because there was only one plug, and where the other one was right in the wall there, so I could unplug it if I wanted to vacuum or something, and I could turn it on easy. So I only really got to use one of those lamps. None of that did I say on her video, but memories came back to me now. But yeah, don't have those speakers anymore. For me, would start with less garish contrasting colors like the red curtains and the yellow lamp that don't go with the aqua sea foam shame walls, etc. So yeah, like I said, I would tone down that room if I could in reverse. Then on the next video, all of a sudden she starts making squealy noises. So she just turned into a mermaid or a porpoise or something. It's a bachelor pad, kinda, but then there's a plant. In the far corner, it looks like Video Game Central. The furniture is modular with ample storage for their clutter, but books are a low priority and no art again. There's 3 framed things on the far wall that looks like it's sports or music stuff in the frames, not art stuff. And then it looked like there was a Beatles throw rug hanging as art. Again, she just goes with add any color and offers no real solution. And it looks like I didn't offer any real solution either. I guess I should have, because now I'm doing this video, but I didn't. But since I elaborated in the last video, then I guess it doesn't matter. Number 9, fairly elegant room. Her color suggestion bad, because she gave the exact same advice 2 videos in a row, or photos in a row. And the second photo was, again, similar to the first austerity one, but definitely way more elegant, tasteful. And all she had to say was, you know, add a rug. Okay, no. 10. So the last one of this round. This is nobody's going to watch this entire video. I already know. Also lazy, but still mostly nice space for that scheme, more than number 8. So number 8, they had similar issues, but maybe we have some solutions here. Obviously 10 images was too many for her attention span. Never mind. Monochromatic she doesn't like here, but if they, this was the one that I wanted to focus on. Okay, so I should have made a note of that first. This was like gray furniture with like a gray and maybe turquoise rug or something. And it was taken from an aerial view down, so it was kind of not, you didn't see the whole room in the same kind of usual way. So you were only kind of seeing the couch and the rug, so of course it looked a little bit bland because everything kind of washed together. But if they leaned into a nautical motif, this would be a perfectly acceptable room. Like, I would actually like my room to look more like that room than the one I probably have. But maybe not gray couches, because, yeah. So, okay, I'm less than halfway through this video and already left a ton of comments, but so far colors and rugs is the only advice. Yeah, sigh, like I was expecting a lot more. From a woman to a man trying to give her perspective, because again, if I gave perspective to a woman, she might not like what I'm saying, but it would definitely be, you know, more cohesive or detailed or whatever. Okay, so the next bedroom, a girl's bedroom, another Londoner, is a student, it sounds like, college age or older. And the big issue, this was the one where she had no curtain over the closet door for sure. The closet was on the back wall. She had sent multiple photos, because again, this wasn't off Instagram. This was viewer participation. And then on the bedspread, there was kind of this burgundy, witchcrafty, goth kind of spider webby looking satin thing, I guess. Not spider webby, but you know what I mean, like a mysterious, you know. And then there was kind of a blue gray wall behind that, and then green curtains, which I assume was her parents' choice. I don't know. So Kendall is living with her parents while she wants to be an actress and an aspiring writer. Again, no age given, but we're assuming under 30. We're hoping. So I said, you know, this is maybe a little bit mean, but Kendall is likely pretentious and wannabe goth based on that bedspread. But then she says, hey, do some blue curtains to go with the green, instead of the green curtains to go with the blue walls, and that'll warm up the room. And my head almost exploded then, because blue is a cool color, the opposite of warm, but also the wall looked more gray to me, which is, you know, a cool color. Wow, what I was just saying about covering the closet with curtain. Oh, okay, so yes, it was two. Yes, my memory is right. Sure, mostly an annoyance, but now she's buying more curtains when she should be saving dough. Save your money. Just use one of the green ones that you already have. The furniture behind door. Oh, she wanted to move a piece of furniture to by the doorway so it would be out of the sight line. Furniture behind doors usually doesn't work for me at all. The door is always getting slammed against the corner, and other issues like getting to your stuff or whatever. Usually that can be an issue. You forgot the other curtains. I don't know what that was. Maybe there was a second window and it didn't have, I don't remember. But yeah, again, she shouldn't really be making any purchases. It's her money or her parents' money, by the way, you know. Um, so yeah, so she wanted her to buy a new bedspread and she wanted her to buy curtains, which the bedspread, you know, it depends on how much you need a bedspread. Like I don't live in London, so you might need a bedspread more than you would need one here. But usually bedspreads are decorative and people pull them away and don't sleep under them. So I would say just get rid of that ugly witchcraft thing and or witchy poo thing and call it a day. So then we went on to game part 2. Okay, now we're back to judging supposedly men's spaces after we've given Kendall a little pep talk, which of course I had no intention of giving Kendall a little pep talk about how to make her depressing room more, you know, cheerful or whatever with stripy orange bedspreads and things, because Kendall should be out getting a freaking job, not worried about her creative home space or whatever. If you want to be a writer, you know, most of the time you're staring at your screen, not at your artwork on your walls. Like I do have artwork on my walls because it's a creative space again. So I'm not saying I'm totally opposed to the idea. I'm just saying I wouldn't buy these now if I'm short on cash instead of just focusing on the project. Okay. So number 1, more game. We're mostly nice room, I guess. I like brown more than she does. Oh, so the first thing she does is say less brown. That was her 3 words, was less brown, please, I think. She didn't even notice that's a nice rug after she's been telling everybody else to get a rug. But this one's brown, so it's terrible. Okay, I'd lose the neon crap that they had some lights on a far bookshelf. It was like 2 little things that they turned on for the video that they should throw in the trash. Obviously, the open kitchen is right there to the other side of the room. So this is likely an apartment, which means you can't do much anyway. There was 3 little pictures on the far wall that I said could be one and put the shelf. Okay, yeah, this was the long, skinny room. And so they had the TV and then the shelf. And I was saying you could angle the shelf. Well, it's hard to figure out with this camera. This is backwards, but you get the idea. You could angle that shelf so you're seeing it more from the vantage point if you wanted to. It's still just your clutter, but if you want the clutter facing this way instead of everybody facing it while they're watching TV. And it would free you up a little bit of space if you wanted to put something next to the TV. But again, you can't block too much of that shelf if you need to be able to get to it. But these aren't people who are collecting a lot of books, that kind of. So it's mostly knickknacks and tools or hobby items or whatever that's on that shelf. Your basketball shoes or something. I don't know what was on there. It was too far away. So number 2, she is stumped already. Same boring advice. I guess she means add rug on top of the carpet again. Most of these spaces had beige carpet, by the way, which is neutral, but also kind of horrible. Well, when I was growing up, we had a blue shag nightmare that came from the original owners, and my parents were too lazy to pull it out when we first got there, so we lived it with it. Just disgusting stuff for about 2 years, and then we finally pulled it out and put in the beige carpet. So of course, since it was plush and beige and not that disgusting nasty stuff, I loved it. But of course, after 10 12 years or however long we were there, I was sick of it. So now I'm like kind of anti-beige carpet, even though it has its place. Okay. So number 3 already has rug. You just don't like their rug. They could get a square map because, again, I guess there was some empty space there and she was wondering what to put in that empty space and said nothing. So, hey, a square map would go in that space. Or how about, well, better than a circular mirror, right? I'm surprised she didn't say put a circular mirror there. That was one. I don't remember what the actual space was like in either of those, though. I'm sure they were both spaces that needed more help than she was willing to offer. So I don't know why she chose those images. And I'm not looking them up. Then we got to number 4. And this was an interesting room, and she absolutely hated it. Sorry, spoiler alert. Less maximalist, but still a colorful space. Plenty of art and vintage items. Like they had these cool furniture pieces and framed stuff. It wasn't just posters tacked on the wall like lazy here. No apologies. So her advice, nope, fail. I mostly actually, her advice was just start over. Which, no. I liked the room. I didn't love the room. The bed was at an angle with the corner, and then behind it was a lamp that bisected the green wall and the blue wall. Or I got the walls on the wrong side, but you know what I mean. One wall was green, one wall was blue. The lamp was this 1920s kind of Coca-Cola stained glass kind of thing. It wasn't brand specific, but you know what I'm talking about, Art Deco. Anyway, I mostly like this room, but not the angled bed with the black bedspread and their parents' crap beige carpet, most likely. I don't know if they can start over or not with the flooring there, because it's likely they're still a student and this is a nice bedroom attempt. Yeah, again, it looked like you live with their parents' room. It might not have been, but when you're allowed to paint the walls like that, either you own the place, in which case you'd have a bigger master bedroom typically, or you don't own the place, in which case you live with parents, right? Not a lot of gray area there, I'm sure. So yeah, she probably said get a rug or whatever. Well, she said start over completely, but then she talked extra and probably said get a rug. I don't remember. I thought she'd be more crazy about that lamp than I am, but I see what they did there and why. Because with space limitations with the other big furniture, there wasn't a lot of place to put the bed. So I'd have to see the other side of the room to really be able to redo that layout, or if you should lose one of those pieces of furniture because it was just too big. But then again, you need a dresser to hold your clothes. The other thing was more of kind of an apothecary desk thing, which I absolutely thought was cool looking, but might not be the right storage solution for a small bedroom. So there is that. Number 5. This is the one where I'd say start over. This was the complete austere room. It was white. Everything was white with black upholstery and 2 small windows. One had a blind and one was open, and I don't know if it had a blind. The window wasn't open, but the blind was open if there was one. Looks more like a prison than a dorm room, or even or hospital almost even. They had put a small bath mat by the bed for when they get up in the morning and they don't want their feet to be cold, I guess. And so her advice was bath mat, not rug, or something like that. Yeah, that's true. A bath mat is not a rug, but that's your only issue. You ignore the ugly bed furniture style and the box window with no shade. Again, maybe the blinds were just pulled up because the other window had them. But I'm sure that bed cost more than I would have spent since it's not wood and warm tones and things like what I can typically consider furniture. Like if you're looking at that almost matches the color of most of my bedroom furniture, because that used to be in my other bedroom way back when, and then I just decided it took up too much space and did not contain bedroom items. Number 6. Next looks more like office than bedroom, but still might be rental space. But why am I getting front door vibes like this is a small living room? Her advice, nope, again, I don't remember what it was. I think it was get curtains was her advice. I prefer blinds to curtains every day of the week. The room looks super clean for a guitar guy. There was 2 guitars by the door. Seeing a lot of tan carpet. So yeah, this was another one of those I couldn't tell if it was a bedroom or a living room. Because of the way the door was placed, I couldn't tell if that was a front door or just a regular condo kind of door to the, the hallway. So that made it hard for me to really give advice there. But curtains would not have been my solution. Okay. It was just sparsely. There was like a computer desk, 2 guitars, and I couldn't tell if it was, I don't remember if it was a bed or a love seat or something. Number 7, mostly nice room overall. I can't, this was a big room, I think. Yes. This was a big room, and there was a long railroad boxcar feel maybe in the middle of it, where there was kind of some dead zone without, her style of rug or whatever. But her advice was move the couches off the walls. It's like, no, I can't stand couches off the walls. She's jealous because it's a nice big space and she wants to ruin all that walking room that she doesn't have in her tiny spot. The room is almost never that big that you can really do that with the couches anyway. And the back of the couch is never that attractive that I really want to look at it. And when I was in junior high school, I think, we had a woman who worked with my mom who used to come and clean the house on Fridays, And one day she was vacuuming and she decided she was going to vacuum everything. And she pulled out the love seat and she pulled out the couch from the one room where we never ever went. But it's like, okay, she's doing her job, whatever. I wasn't bothering with her. But then she started just like going on to other rooms and stuff and not pushing the couches back. And she had rearranged. There was hardly any furniture in that room to begin with, but she had just left it. It was obvious that she did not intend to put the stuff back because she wanted my mom to see her design concept. And yeah, I was like, what are you doing? You have to put the couches back. You can't just, if I had been, if I was a little bit bigger, I probably would have just pushed them back myself. But I was, I don't know if it was 8th grade, maybe it was more like 6th grade. I don't remember. But I definitely didn't feel like I could move that furniture by myself at the time, or I would have just been like, no, go away. And so mid-argument or maybe a little bit later, my mom actually came home and said how much she loved it. Oh, I love it. And if I didn't have kids, I probably would leave it like that. So her and the mom, I think, ended up putting the couches back. But yeah, I was just like, it just hurt my brain. Like, no, why would you do that? This is not that big of a room. It's an entry room. We just walked through it to the other room. I don't want to be tripping over couches every day of the damn week when I come down the hallway to go to the kitchen. Put the couch where it goes. Number nine. I don't remember what her words were. Oh, finally we agree. Took long enough, and the room is still cluttered a bit, though, that she didn't comment on. So I don't remember what that room was or why I finally agreed with this woman, but if you see her video, there you go. Only 19 photos in, and we finally reached a consensus. 10, another mostly nice space. This one I actually remember. This was the kind of place you'd want to rent if you lived in one of those crappy cities like Manhattan or something and had to pay 5 times what it's worth. It had all bricks with those big windows. Again, this might not be a legitimate space. This might be, a catalog photo or something. And she again said, not enough color. No, the bricks are the color, but it could use some more accents. I'm not crazy about the rug choice where they had some kind of zebra stripe thing or something. That was my biggest issue. And she didn't even mention the rug. So there you go. I wish I could remember what number 9 was, but I don't. Sorry. Okay, so it took me however long, 30 minutes or something, to get through 5 minutes worth of her video. 15 minutes to go. Maybe I won't make it all the way through watching now, but I did. I pressured myself to do it. And as a result, now I'm making this video that will hopefully only be about an hour. We'll see how it goes. So then she goes to the next woman who's in Slovenia and has this kind of gypsy boho rental space where she can't really do too much, but it's a nice cottage to begin with. So, but first she goes, she talks about how it was coincidentally, she's talking about the kind of woman she wants to be is this beautiful woman living in a cottage who doesn't realize she's beautiful, and all this kind of claptrap, like Snow White or Bambi or whatever. Oh, and my thumbnail that I meant to mention at the beginning, right? Like, men are all dumb dwarves who live in these gloomy dungeons, and good thing Snow White comes along to perfectify it or whatever, right? I don't know if that's still their mindset, but of course the argument is also that all the men want to make all the women barefoot and pregnant and blah blah blah. And where would they be without Snow White to cook and clean? And the new movie, I already did videos about the movie thing months ago that nobody watched, so I'm not going to talk about Snow White extensively here, even though I used it for another thumbnail. Okay, but yes, there are so many beautiful women running around who just don't realize it, like, as opposed to all those narcissists who think they're way more attractive than they really are or whatever. But I didn't comment on her sweater that she talked about for a while, 2 minutes or something, or her undies ad. But she was doing the video from her parents' house where she had redecorated her old bedroom, and now that old home bedroom has a bit of a cottage feel, so it worked for that setting. Ha ha ha, funny joke. Then she moves on to this other gal who talks about being friends with the deer and the foxes or something. So naturally, I've been over by deer on multiple occasions, usually because some idiot with a camera, and they come charging up the trail and almost kill me because can't fix that. Is as does. And I've almost been bit by a fox before, too. Ask me about black bears sometime. Okay. So then she goes something about cabinet. She was groping for a word, a record shelf. And I think cabinet might have been the word she was searching for. And then talk about how she likes it when people mix match the furniture. This is going to be a theme coming up, even though when we had those other maximalist rooms earlier, she didn't seem to like it all that much. I'm less crazy about mix match, but mostly works here in this cottage. Since there are pops of colors and such, I don't care for that plant either. There was actually 2 plants, but the bigger one was the one that was more distracting until I noticed the second one. But they were in these white planter pots, similar to these 60s colorful ones that I used to have outdoors, that I thought belonged outdoors. Was kind of my point there. What? Changing the table placement eliminates half the seating. So same with the bed. She wanted to take a table that was pointed this way so that they could utilize seating on both sides and turn it against the wall so that you'd really only have seating on one side. So that depends on how many guests you typically have. Because that eliminates half the seating, way more than you think it does. Trust me, I know. It depends on how often people use those extra chairs, if you need them, or if it's really just, mostly her all the time eating by herself with her little eclectic collection. So then all of her suggestions were also eliminating all the chairs that she said she liked. I'll get into that in a minute. Another open concept kind of place. It always looks like you have more space than you do. So once you move the furniture like that, and pull the table out or whatever, turn it sideways, all of a sudden you have no walking room. Because if you're going to put more chairs behind against the wall, you're going to have to bring the table out farther than you think you do, or you won't be able to use those chairs. That's kind of how it's like, yeah, you can have the chair under the table if nobody's ever going to sit in it all you want, and it can be against the wall. But again, are there 3 people here, 6 people here, or just 1 person here? Okay. So yeah, all of a sudden, no walking room for using those other chairs. So you got an either or situation. Then she went off on this long tangent where she replaces the chairs with a booth. I had a booth in my old house when I was growing up, and it was fine because we were very small kids. Otherwise, as functioning adults, that kitchen would have just been tiny. So then where do the cool mix match extra chairs go? Yeah, she doesn't answer that. agree to disagree more than total fail, but also this is a rental. So why are you dropping loads of extra cash into a feature that's just left behind when you move? Yeah. Yeah, don't renovate somebody else's space would be my takeaway there, or at least minimally so, because you do want the place to be livable and enjoyable and blah, 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 blah. Okay. We're almost to the other girl's video. I promise. We're right here. I don't know how people can use chairs on a rug on a dinette spot. So rug woman wants to put a chair under the dinette set. No, the chairs are always digging in when I want to slide away from the table and thing, and food and beverages falling on your rug and staining it immediately because you're eating there. And, again, this is a 30-year-old woman with no children giving advice on if you're married and have 3 kids, you don't want a rug under your table, probably. Then on the far wall, she was talking about painting half of it and doing this and that and other ideas. And she came up with paneling. I said no shiplap because on HGTV, everything was shiplap. People who didn't grow up with paneling, her age, now suggest it and such. And to me, it's like, yeah, no. I grew up with enough paneling that I never want to see that again. It isn't always the paneling that's looks so bad. Like our first house with the ugly shag carpet, again, the paneling had warped on the wall, and they had left some of the nails and things. So sometimes you'd be running your hand on the wall and you'd hit a nail that you didn't know was there, or a nail hole with, with little splinters and stuff. Just disgusting, ugly, nasty stuff that we should have ripped out sooner, but my parents were lazy. And then at the bottom, she said something about, well, you can be a man and leave opinions and haha. And I said, yes, as a man, I would likely disregard 80% of your advice. Like, we managed to agree on like 3 whole things, except for again, if she wasn't so lazy, she might have given advice and then I could have gone into the advice. But when her advice is bigger rug, like you obviously don't actually care about designing men's spaces. You only care about designing women's spaces. Just say that and, save us all much time. Okay, so part 2, this next video, shorter video, but I still have a bunch of comments because there was a lot of overlapping themes all of a sudden. That was where the surprise came in. So she was talking about maximalists being too much for her, which, again, a gal that I would think leans a little more into maximalism than minimalism overall, but she was saying she was in a maximalist house and it was overstimulating but very organized. And I think most maximalists won't be very organized, but they also have no real concept of color theory or something, which is why, again, you had the red lamp and the yellow lamp and the red couch and the blue picture frames and the aqua walls in the one place. And it was just like, no, move half of this crap into a different room. Get a theme. Go with it, Just like I said in my earlier videos, if you don't have kind of a theme to your clothing and your space and your life in general, then, maybe it makes sense to you, but it won't make that much sense to anybody else, I guess. And if it doesn't make sense to anybody else, but it makes sense to you, it might be a miracle. I think you're just faking it and pretending it makes sense to you. I think that the maximalists might slightly know color theory, but then they think they can abuse it because I'm Picasso and the rest of you just don't get it. Like, no, we know what's garish. We know what's, like she said, overstimulating. Again, how many hours you're spending in that space when you're home, I don't know. Maybe they're going, straight to their bedroom most of the time and only enjoying it during a meal and a movie. Who knows? The captain bed. Oh, she did not like this one. She changed topics a bunch of times, so it's a little less cohesive than the last one. She didn't like beds that were too tall. And most people will agree with that. That's why beds are typically a standard kind of height with a box spring and a da-da-da. But the captain bed solved much of my storage issue. I agree it can be a shift getting used to the taller bed, especially if like you switch from a futon mattress on the floor or something. But putting on shoes isn't that much easier on the floor either. You still need a chair. It's an adjustment worthwhile for some, but then many that do something like a futon or no box spring is likely killing their back from, even getting those thinner mattresses that aren't firm enough. If you're going to have the captain bed, see, I don't have a box spring, but I do have a pretty thick, firm mattress. That's not too bad. It didn't come with the actual bed. Then she complained about the headboard will be like way higher than necessary. Well, the headboard height can vary. Not every bed has that. Mine doesn't. The drawer style can also vary. Mine, not perfect, but for the price, it was a steal or a good deal at the time. My bed and your waist, I don't know if my bed is as high as her waist, how tall she is compared to me. I don't know. But like I said, I don't have a box spring, so my bed isn't too high for me to get onto most of the time. Then she was talking about how she hates TVs, and TVs dominate most living spaces, and they look terrible. Yes, people don't hang art now, they hang TVs, I agree, but I still prefer placement on some kind of stand at least, not usually wall-mounted. The better TVs got bigger than the modular cabinets for most living rooms, but you can still use those kind of cabinets in other spaces, like a bedroom or an office, if you have a smaller TV. The particle board ones kind of took over. You want to try and get a real wood one. The TVs are lighter now, so it's less likely to be a real issue in the long run. I was always afraid, 6 years ago or whatever, when I still had the heavy TV, that my entire cabinet was going to collapse and smash all my CDs in the shelf. Or there was a little door on this one side, and then there was like a bookshelf area in the middle, and then another. And so I had CD box sets in that thing and right under the TV, and I was positive if that support beam ever cracked in half, because again, particle board. Yeah, I was like, oh, it's going to just destroy $2,000 worth of box sets, The better TVs got bigger. Let's see, can still use another space. Obviously, arranging the furniture to discount the TV presence would just mean having to rearrange the furniture every time you wanted to watch a movie or sports or, something. That would be ridiculous. Like, especially if it was a short program or news or something. Like, okay, time to swing the whole, like, again, back to the woman who was cleaning the house. Like, that wasn't the TV room. If that had been the TV room and she had done something totally bizarre, it's like, no, the TV's there, lady. We want to watch the TV. Same thing. But then she was showing a lot of TVs that were kind of up above fireplaces, but then complaining about other TVs that were about the same height or higher, but there was no fireplace. So yeah, no, most of those suggestions, even over the fireplaces, are too high for my eye line. I guess some people like reclining the chair all the way all the time and watching the TV way up here. I don't know how that works. But yeah, always having to move or remove doors because she wanted, things that cover, or a fake painting that covers the TV so it looks aesthetically pretty. To me, that's the same as putting a curtain over an open closet when there's no door. I don't want to hassle with that every time I want to look for a shirt or whatever, or watch a program. Same thing. Like, nope, just, it's a TV, deal with it. Sorry. I agree, they're ugly. And if you can afford those prettier options, great. But if I have to manually remove something every single day, that something is ending up in the damn garage because I'm watching the TV. Even though I like to, be the guy who reads more than the TV guy. Give me a break. TV is still a daily occurrence for most people for a reason. Okay. Sometimes people are repurposing existing furniture. Okay, so this is where she had, same as the other woman, wanted the eclectic boho, all different furniture stuff. Most of us aren't going to Ashley Furniture and buying the set. Or if we do that once, and then, 10 years later, maybe do that again, I think most people kind of end up with stuff. Like, you first move out, your parents give you stuff, grandma dies, and you end up with a couple things, however that, kind of goes. If you're really broke, you're getting it all at the thrift store. None of it's going to match, and it's always going to look horrible. So some people are repurposing existing furniture, which is cost saving, and at least, oh no, this was the shoes by the door thing. Okay, my fault. Well, we'll get into that in a minute. So she was saying she hates an open bookshelf kind of thing for shoes, especially if it's by a front door. Well, I don't know who puts shoes by a front door like that unless maybe they live in an apartment in the first place. So maybe that's a thing with younger people. Sorry, I went off on half a tangent. But at least they have all those shoes in one place, more organized than just loose everywhere all over. Okay. Although I didn't totally disagree with her there. Yeah, I did end up, well, when you buy 80 pairs of boots in a year, you end up with some boots not by the doorway, but in the living room where I didn't necessarily want them. But I moved, we had this old microwave shelf that I don't know where it came from, but we've had it forever. And it's been used for less interesting clutter for years. And finally, I just said, okay, I'm repurposing this. And I stuffed it in a corner where there was an empty area kind of anyway. And I put a bunch of boots in it and works fine for me for now. It's not meant to be permanent, but it's literally what she's complaining about. And I'm like, yeah, I finally found a place to put my boots. Don't care if there's a prettier thing that costs money for me to put my boots when I already had this for free where I put my damn boots. So, okay. So as I said earlier, she was showing a thing and she didn't say put a rug under a dinette. She just showed a photo that seemed like it had a picture of a rug under a dinette. And so repeating, rugs under any eating table is a nightmare. The moving of the chairs and the dropping of the food and drink. Okay. Then she was talking about curtain placement, how to do it properly. If you're going to put up curtains, that's probably great advice. Personally, I can't stand curtains unless we need air raid blackout conditions or something like I turn my living room into a movie studio or something. I will avoid them for the rest of my time on this planet at all costs. This is the ugliest blinds ever, by the way. These are not the blinds I want here, but again, I don't want to spend money on blinds right now. And they're fine. But they had put this ugly treatment above it that I don't like. I took it off in the other room and replaced it with a fake, not a fake, but like a, they had these curtain things that were there in kind of a pattern. I don't know, the woman was weird and she did weird things. And I removed like one of them and simplified the design. And it's not perfect now because it lets in more sun when I don't want it, but there's no way to kind of fix it without replacing the whole thing. Anyway. So yes, I don't have full curtains though. It's like a little runner that is just covering part of the window to keep the sun out. So here's the bit about the furniture. Okay, sorry. But yeah, I had curtains in my like first bedroom growing up, and I got rid of them when I was like 7 years old, and I've never had any since, I don't think. Like I was like, nope, done. We can get these plastic things. I would prefer probably wood blinds for appearance, but I don't know if wood blinds last. I mean, the plastic ones that we first got way back then were cheap. They were the cheapest plastic you could get installed, that, you know, but they worked. And they were a nice, pleasant blue color to match my nice, pleasant blue walls. So I didn't have the bright white or anything. So here we are about the furniture. I've never really been able to afford all the matchy furniture, like I said, in the type of sets I really want. So I do strive to make my mix matches look kind of similar in wood tone and such, so it looks like it was intentional, not just, oh, look at this unique thing next to that unique thing. I just can't stand not having all the same color match in each room, because that's always been the default, you know, with placement where some things don't fit in the one room and all that anyway, because like I said, that came out of the one room, does not go with the white furniture that's here and behind me, because I wanted this room to have all the white furniture, and some of the white furniture didn't end up in here because it wouldn't fit, and da-da-da. So I got the dresser, and I got this bookshelf, and I got that bookshelf, which is most of the white furniture. But then for practical purposes, this desk is not white, and it's not the exact same color as that, though. Close enough, I guess. And of course, I don't really like that color as much as maybe cherry, but if I had waited and got the more expensive real wood one of that, I probably could have got a cherry, but that was the particle board version. So there was like dark brown and sandalwood or whatever they called it. which is a sticker, not a real wood. Because again, that's the particle board one that still doesn't match my other particle board thing that survived when the other particle board desk and shelf just destroyed when I tried to move them on the beige carpet. Long story short, yeah, I may have mentioned this kind of thing before in previous videos, but if you made it this far, you're interested in what I'm talking about. So only the boho look wants much of that kind of mix match thing, and at that point you're practically at maximalist, or anyway, or it looks like you just got everything, you know, that was given to you by friends and family, discards, you know, mostly. Again, if you had to only shop at the thrift store, again, if a thing is the exact thing you need but the wrong color, I would say still get it, right? It's only $35, but it's dark brown. Oh well. Maybe you can sand it and redo it, or maybe you can live with it and change some of your other furniture later to match that. Long story short, there was a book that I got. I forget what company it was. They had a catalog selection called the Humphrey Bogart collection, and it was like his furniture from the late 50s or something. Oh my God, I loved it. It was so expensive. You know, I don't know if that was even still available, but yeah. If I could go back in time and invest in that instead of going to college, right? It'd be about the same amount of money for some furniture. And I probably couldn't even sell it now because all the pieces would match. These pieces are too matching. How come one of them isn't sandalwood? Anyway, so then she talks about the furniture itself. And I guess most people would prefer less monochromatic upholstery now, like we were talking about those gray couches in the other video. But then she still wants to put in, you know, the clashing rug too. Like, no, I don't want that much. She, you know, like I said in the beginning of the video, she says she's not a maximalist. Then she starts kind of proposing maximalist kind of things, themes, things, I don't know, styles. So then she talks about kitchen tile being bad because the rest of the house has nicer tile or wood floors. Yeah, those other, and talking about how a lot of these are homes in LA, and so they're old kind of houses. So why do they have this new modern ugly tile or whatever? Yeah, those other kitchens are probably upgrades that weren't, you know, originally part of the original space or something. Those old houses tended to have smaller areas, and they probably expanded the kitchen and took out a bedroom or a closet or whatever it was. You know, coat closet. Nobody wears coats anymore. Who knows? A lot of the wood floors got lost along the way because of water damage or termites, because that's an LA thing. But, you know, tiles don't always last here because the earth shifts and they crack, but they still do better than wood in a kitchen most of the time. I mean, that's another issue. Almost as bad, but not quite as much of a liability as a rug under a table because the wood floors are harder to clean, and, you know, you spill, and you again, water damage. Tile, you just mop it, you're done, right? And oh, the other gal, she didn't mention sconces as much in the previous video. Here she mentions sconces again in this video. I'm not a sconce fan. That just sounds like more work for me. Like, yes, a table lamp, done, fine. A standing lamp, done, fine. I've mentioned this likely before too. And then this one, oh, I remember what video number 9 was. We can't go back in time. Sorry. Video number 9 was everything was at the same height. That was the issue. Slightly different than the one about the TV and the cabinet, but similar. The couches were all the same height. The coffee tables were kind of the same height, and they had put like low objects on them so they didn't rise. And yeah, they didn't have any bookshelves. They didn't have any of that kind of thing. So yeah, all the same height. So this gal sees a different photo that's the same issue. People used to have bookshelves, but now they just have TVs. So yeah, you don't have taller cabinets, and China cabinets aren't really a thing anymore either. Like, again, grandma's died, wants to give you her furniture, but you don't want that 1920s cabinet. That's not modern and cool. No thanks. And this is, you know, space. Like, modern, urbane, not urban per se, but also urban, but urbane, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So, and then no artwork, right? Like no TV, maybe no TV or no TV in the photo. TV's off to the side, perhaps, or covered, but then no art at all, just blank walls. And these are spaces that don't look like renter spaces where you could hang something you're choosing not to. And I don't understand that. Yes, this is not the ultimate solution for a living room. Again, this is not, but at least I don't just have a blank wall there for you to only see my face the whole time for an hour and 10 minutes. And the height of that and the height of that are almost the same. So if I didn't have any of this, that would be kind of odd. It would be framing my noggin a bit. And then this, of course, there's nothing I can do about this because, again, this isn't even the wall where I wanted the thing in the first place. So you got to see the ugly blinds instead of me not being able to function. So yeah, again, don't look at this space as how to decorate much. This is this was desperation more than my typical layout. But again, not a living room. Guests are not going to see this when they, walk in the door, kind of thing. But yeah, this being the same height as that, and then the lamp being the same height, that just sort of happened, Again, if I had a blank wall there and this was a more common use living area, I would not favor that. But then also this is clothes. So you don't usually have a clothes drawer in a communal space either. So that's a bedroom item that, again, didn't fit in the other bedroom. And I wanted all the white furniture in here just for thematic. So it ended up in here instead of the bookshelf. Because, yes, I could have a sandalwood colored bookshelf there instead. But because that wall, the bookshelf wouldn't take up as much of the wall, blah, blah, blah. So you get that. Okay. But yes, so if this was a more typical thing, there would be a taller bookshelf there that is not the same height as the sandalwood thing, blah, blah, blah. And I could have the bookshelf facing you and you'd see the books, or I could have the bookshelf facing the door. Again, the vignette thing depends, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so hopefully that wasn't a total waste of time and maybe more than one person will watch it. And as always, if there are any questions, put them in the comments and I will try to reply in a coherent and timely manner to your needs and concerns and your values or whatever. And have a good weekend if you see this before tomorrow.